Hello, my name is Natasha, and this is my case study for Module 5 for my lifespan development course. I will be going over a couple instances in my life where I felt and was going through Perry's from dualism to relativism theory. I'm going to go over a kind of general example, but I feel like it works well when comparing the three generally. So first off with strict dualism, that is like strictly right or wrong. I'm going to be talking about the police. As a kid, you're taught police are the good guys. There's good guys, there's bad guys. Police are the good guys that you call. For multiplicity, I'm so sorry, I have a difficult time saying that word. Um, that is like understanding information in certain contexts and knowledge only being certain to some degree. So during like COVID, when we were seeing the Black Lives Matter movement, and a lot of anti-police brutality protests, my mindset shifted. I was like 15 when we went into COVID, so please don't get upset for me being ignorant about it at the time. But then my mindset changed to some cops are good, some cops are bad, depends on the cop, depends on the city. Um, and I had a difficult time transitioning into that thought because, you're always taught as a child, like, oh, the cops are the good guys. That's who you call if you're in trouble. Um, so a little bit of trust there, being a little more anxious when speaking to a police officer because I'm a person of color. And then moving on to relativism. Again, this is context. We know knowledge is uncertain at this point. Um, I think that with the police example, you could go into it a little further and be like, are cops bad or are cops a part of a system where there is a contradictory definition of what a good cop is? A good cop to other cops is a cop that watches the back of their brothers in blue and that's their family, that's their team, but a good cop to the police or to the people, general public, would be a cop who's not afraid to call out anything that may be wrong and unethical done behind the scenes. A difficulty I had with that transition from multiplicity to the relativism was particularly of feeling a little bit more hopeless about the system being broken. And the more you learn about it, usually those thoughts don't get much better. Um, but however, I feel like using the police and kind of looking at the layers of that issue is a way to explain dualism to relativism. Um, but also talking about transitions to college. Um, I felt like I had a relatively easy transition, but that's mainly because of the people in my village and my support system. Um, College, I went to a community college because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I'm a mom. So community college had a lot more flexible options. I moved into my first apartment, which was half a mile from my parents' house. Um, I would see my parents almost every day still. Um, and so I felt like I had a pretty easy transition of things weren't a lot different, but I was definitely a lot more I was already independent, but a lot more responsible for myself and my living conditions. But something really had difficulty with, especially with starting college, was with just kind of making time and scheduling, and my grades ended up suffering the first semester because of it. Um, but I feel like that's kind of a transition that everybody makes. A lot of my other transitioning is not similar to other people's experience with being a parent and a student at the same time, but I feel like time management was something I really struggled with when I first was completely on my own, as well as this is something I'm still having a bit of difficulty with, is taking the time to take care of myself before I burn out. And I think that if I were to try to help somebody who was facing this problem, I would first tell them to get a planner. I have a weekly one. I love it. I use it all the time. There's space. I have like the days on one side and then like a to-do list on the other side, but it really keeps me on track and lets me prioritize what tasks need to be done on what days. Um, I think another thing I would definitely say to someone who is struggling to find time for themselves is to actually put it in their calendar. And when you're sitting down making your schedule for the week, the month, whatever, just say, okay, this day for 2 hours, I'm just gonna take care of myself. And I feel like taking care of yourself can look so different for so many people. Some days taking care of myself is sitting in my bed and watching a show and just being on my phone for 2 hours just because I need a break and don't want to unwind by doing something that is mentally or physically um, taxing. For other people, I know for me, sometimes getting out there, taking care of my mental health is looking like a walk or exercise, and it is to each their own. It's very based a lot on context as well. So those would be my two main pieces of advice for anybody struggling with those, especially with a transition to college. Depending on what school you go to, there might be a big academic culture that can impede getting in the way, getting impede taking care of yourself. So, thank you so much.